Hey guys, what's up? We are back with Ideal versus Predictive Mock Draft 4.0 for the Seahawks. Um, this one is probably going to be a little more interesting because we are post combine, so we actually have some results to look at with these draft prospects, and we have some meetings that the Seahawks met with a few players, so we will talk about that. Um, this is 4.0. First one I'm going to do is my ideal. Then we're going to go into the predictive, what I think John, Mike, and Kubiak and co will do. So this first draft, let's just hop right in here. Get this 7-round mock going. I uploaded earlier my risers and fallers of the combine, about 30-minute video. Check it out if you haven't already. And this is going up a couple hours later. I will say, check out my big board. I leave it in the description of all my videos. I'm updating it as I go. I haven't updated it in a while, but I am updating it, and I will definitely spend after the combine. There's a massive overhaul to that big board, and it might actually be cool if I make a video just going over my big board. That might be something I could do at some point throughout March. Maybe do a couple of those videos as it updates. But go check that out if you haven't already. And go check out my buddy Alf. His channel will be in the description. He does mock draft stuff too. And he's pretty knowledgeable. He studies the prospects pretty well. So go check him out. If you like what I do, you'll like what he does. All right. First mock here. This is my ideal. Now, sitting here at 18, Will Johnson has been slipping quite a bit because he does have the injury concerns, but also I think the league kind of views him as that press man corner, and when at the combine, his arm length was very bad. He has short arms, so being kind of that press man corner and having the little teeny tiny arms, I think people are scared of that. Reasonably so. Donovan Izirawaku is like flying up boards. PFF has him at 16 now, which he's great. He really is great. He has a pass rush win rate of nearly 20%. He's really good. Josh Simmons on the board. He was a top 5 player on my board pre-injury. I really like him. I think he could play every position on the offensive line. I really, really like him. So if his medicals test out, if he comes back looking good, he is absolutely someone I would take. Shamar Stewart, we need to take a minute. His combine was unbelievable. And in that video, I spent several minutes talking about Shamar Stewart. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I had to pause for a second, but I'm back. As you can tell, I was getting distracted. But anyway, Shamar Stewart, he has the size, and he's really good. Look at his pressures. Look at his film. He's really good at pressuring the quarterback. He just doesn't always finish. But that's not exactly his role. He's not out there to just sack the quarterback over and over. He's a really good run defender, and he can get pressure. So Shamar Stewart might be a good pick here at 18. Let's see. We also got Gray Zabel. I'm going to pretend Jalen Walker isn't here because he probably won't be here. Gray Zabel is a really fun center. Could play left guard as well. I would be happy with that. Nick Emanwari had an incredible combine. He's been my favorite safety in this class for a long time. And that the combine definitely did not change that. Getting him, that would be Mike's Kyle Hamilton. Nick Emanwari is incredible. I love him. I think Shamar Stewart might be my guy here. Let's look at the trades. We have the Chargers at 22. This was the only, I think, realistic trade I would do, and that would be like 22 and 123 for pick 18, which is all right. But moving back for a semi-late fourth, and possibly missing out on Shamar Stewart, I don't know if I'm willing to do that. Shamar Stewart, I've spent the last few days just like studying Shamar Stewart film. So he's my guy right now. He's my number 2 edge in this class. He's my number 1 fit for the Seahawks in terms of edge. And I forgot to mention, today is March 4th. We had 4 releases. We released Rayshon Jenkins. We released George Fant, Roy Robertson Harris, and Draymond Jones. All of them expected, but it is news. So that does kind of factor in now. No Draymond Jones. We do need a 4th edge. We absolutely need a 4th edge. Shamar Stewart is that guy. Nwosu probably moving on from him. Next season, I think we're restructuring the deal, and then we'll just have him for one more year. Shamar Stewart can come in as our 4th edge. I think, honestly, he would be our 3rd edge, have Nwosu and Boye out there. Honestly, Shamar might even take that 2nd spot with Nwosu or Boye. But I think Derek Hall, with Shamar Stewart on this roster, Derek Hall would fall back to that 4th edge spot because Derek Hall does struggle against the run. And that is one of Shamar Stewart's specialties. So Stewart here, I think you take him. He'll be the 2nd or 3rd edge on our team. And I think he would get really meaningful snaps. And I think he would be really, really good for this team. I'm going to take Shamar Stewart. And then Shamar Turner would be crazy. Taking both Shamars. But so as of now, no extension on Ernest Jones. So I will say Carson Schwessinger, I've been looking into him a lot the past few days. He's really intriguing. He's really, really fast for a linebacker of his size. I think he weighed in at like 242 at the combine. He's a former wide receiver. He's really, really good in coverage. He only has the 1 season as a starter, so you're kind of hoping that that's just who he is and it's not a fluke. But, I mean, he's a really fun player, and if we don't re-sign Ernest Jones, this would be a really fun guy to take a leap on. Tyler Booker, I think this is a reasonable range for him now because of how bad he was at the combine. He was like the worst offensive lineman at the combine. And like I think he might have, I don't think he dropped himself out of the top 50, but I think mid-second is probably his range now because I think Tyler Booker is pretty scheme specific. I think he just needs that power run scheme. And I don't know how he's going to fit in many other offensive schemes. So he would be a plug-and-play left guard, which I would be happy with. It's just after what he did and after having a down year, I'm really down on Tyler Booker. I thought he would be a lot better than that at the combine. I'm disappointed. JT is good value here, but we just took an edge in the first, so we're not going to do that again. Darian Porter is fun. I've talked about him a lot before. I think he's my ideal corner for the Seahawks, with just probably the best zone coverage ability in this class. He was incredibly fast. He ran a 4.3 flat at the combine. Incredibly speedy, really lengthy corner. This is a guy I would love to have on our team, pending a Reek trade. But as of now, we haven't brought back Josh Jobe, so that cornerback 2 spot is still open, or cornerback 3 spot is still open. Darian Porter could fill that pretty well. So could Azareye'h Thomas. He's been my guy. He's my number 1 corner in this class. I think he goes late first. I think he's my number 1 corner, but I know realistically he's not the number 1 corner in this class. I know that. He's just my guy. I really love Azareye'h, but realistically, I don't think he's here. I think Darian Porter is more likely to be here than Azareye'h. Let's talk about how Dylan Sampson kicked ass at the combine. I just want to shout that out. He was unbelievable. He looked so fast out there. Really impressed with what Dylan Sampson did. Kyle Kennard was not impressive at the combine. He fell. He fell far for me. He's never been particularly high on my board, and that combine was just nah. I think it's possible Donovan Jackson falls to 50. I think it's unlikely. I think he goes late first, early second. But it is possible. Benjamin Morrison would be a good pick if the medicals, if he tests out well with the medicals. So I'm actually gonna do something a bit different here, and I am gonna go with Carson Schwessinger. If we don't re-sign Ernest Jones, I think this could be a really fun pick, and you are definitely taking a bit of a risk, taking an edge in a linebacker first and not addressing O-line until at least the 3rd round. That is a bit of a risk, but that's what I'm going to take here with just such high upside players on the board, and a defensive head coach. And I think they're just great scheme fits. And then look at this, Savaya Nia. He's not going to be here, so I'm going to be a little realistic. Marcus Bowe could absolutely be here, and I think he would be decent. A decent right guard. I think he could slide over to left guard if we needed him to. Don't know how much I'd trust it. Wyatt Milam would be a fun center, or left guard. He's someone I would absolutely like to try out there. Tate Ratledge is a pure right guard. I don't want to move him to left guard. That's not something I want to try. Anthony Belton, going to be realistic again. I don't think Anthony Belton is here. He probably goes mid to late second just because of his pure versatility. I think he could play both tackle spots and both guard spots. I think he's really good. I will discuss Jared Wilson. He had a monster combine day, and he was the fastest offensive lineman there, and he just looked so good, so agile. I was really impressed with Jared Wilson. This is a move that we could take Jared Wilson to be our starting center. Olu could be the backup, and then Christian Haynes maybe bumps over to left guard, maybe fights for a starting left guard spot. Hopefully in this scenario we sign like a Tevin Jenkins at left guard, so then we could only focus on the center. Of course that hasn't happened, so I can't sit here and say this is the scenario if that happens, but it's just where the team is currently. And I'm fine without taking a center. I think we'd be fine with Olu or Christian Haynes at center. But Jared Wilson in the 3rd, I think it is good value after what he did at the combine. And I think it would allow us to move Christian Haynes to left guard and try him there. And if he doesn't work at right guard and left guard, then at that point we could just say, okay, you're a backup, and we don't have to try to force you into a starting role. But if Christian Haynes does work out, that would be great. But Jared Wilson, if you have I'm sitting here, I think Olu is fine. I think he's fine at center, but don't don't hold on to something you think is fine when you could upgrade it. You know, like we could say that Olu is fine. We don't need a center, but if we can take an upgrade and a big upgrade at that, we should do it. And Jared Wilson provides that upgrade. I'm gonna draft him here to be our starting center, and then we can give Haynes a try at left guard. All right, on the board here. Remember, this is my ideal. So here I'm probably gonna look for another offensive line, or maybe a tight end would be fun. CJ Dipre killed it. Killed it. He had, I think, 32 reps on the bench press, which is top 5 by a tight end all time at the combine. That was unbelievable. I will look at tackle. Johnny Cornelius is fun. Emory Jones. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do here. Emory Jones, if his medicals, I was surprised he declared. He probably should have gone back to school for another year. But you know what? This is a good pick. If he's young and if he comes back from that injury that he had, I mean, I would take him in the mid first, in the beginning of the year in mocks. He has a lot of upside. I think Jared Wilson at center, Emory Jones and Christian Haynes battle it out for the starting left guard role. I think that could work pretty well. So I'm going to keep my eye on this. Johnny Cornelius, I have him as an early day 3 guy. I really like him. I think he could move inside to guard, but he is a really, really fun right tackle too. If we don't feel great about Abe Lucas going forward, or if you just want a bit of an insurance policy, Johnny Cornelius could be that guy, and he could slide into guard if we needed him to. But I think he could be a good right tackle of the future. Let's look at the interior class here. Tyler Cooper is a guy I've been very high on and very vocal about. I've taken him in the 4th a lot. I used to take him at our original 4th round pick a lot when we had that one before trading for Ernest Jones. I really like Tyler Cooper. I think he moves well in space. And having him to compete with Christian Haynes, I think would be really fun. But I do really like him in a zone, like an outside zone scheme. I would really like to see him there. Now I mean, Tyler Batty is a great size. He's really intriguing, but we can't take 2 edges in our first 4 picks, I don't think. Now, wide receiver is possible. Nick Nash is fun. Kyle Williams was really good at the combine. Dante Thornton was really, really good at the combine, so that might be a pick. Someone I look at 173. I do like Chimere DK. I do like him a lot. I think he would be best in the league in sort of a slot role, so I don't want to take him. KLS, I really like KLS. I thought he was really good at the combine too. Really fast feet. Ricky White, I was disappointed with at the combine. He was one of the slower receivers, and I was expecting a bit more because I've been very vocal about my love for Ricky White. Unfortunately, he just hasn't been what I've been thinking he was, at least at the combine. Then looking at the interior, Simeon Barrow, I don't know how I feel about him. He's undersized. We need a nose tackle really, which Zeke Biggers is a good nose tackle option if we want to go that route in the 5th or 6th. And Cameron Jackson, I've taken him a couple times before. I like him. Nazir Stackhouse has kind of fallen down boards, and he didn't have a stellar combine, so he's not gonna rock it up. Jay Toya is a guy I've loved. I mean, he's really he's huge. He's got really good size. So a lot of late day 3 nose tackles that you could discuss. which we probably will end up doing. I am going to take Emory Jones Jr. here at 137. He could take he could inside battle for the starting left guard role with Christian Haynes, and if Abe goes down, I think he could take that right guard or right tackle spot, and he could give it a try. Kyle McCord. I take him a lot. I take Kyle McCord a lot, man. I do. I'm not going to take Kyle McCord here. I'm not. I'm going to try to avoid taking a QB in this draft. I was wanting to look at wide receiver. Dante Thornton, I think he'd be a good wide receiver 3. And I think he brings a lot more upside than Derek Young does. So he could kind of, even if he needs to take that wide receiver 4 spot, I'd feel really good about him. So this is probably my top option here at 173. We can look at the tight ends. Thomas Fedone, I'm fine with him. Jalen Conyers, is my guy, and I think he fits really well with this team. I think he's in terms of tight ends in this class, he's probably the best potential fullback for Clint Kubiak. So I really like him. He's like a Taysom Hill light. Jalen Conyers, I really, really like him. So I don't think there's any way we don't try to get him. And I think overdrafting him is something we would absolutely do to assure that we can get him. You could look at tackle, maybe a right tackle, in case Abe Lucas gets hurt, or a left tackle to replace Stone Forsythe as the backup. But we did get Emory Jones Jr. As that insurance policy at tackle. Safety, I don't love, if we're not going to take a safety in the first 3 rounds, then I probably don't want to take one until late day 3. I don't really love the mid day 3 group of safeties. I've been very vocal about Hunter Wohler. Keaton Crawford was fun at the combine. Dante Trader, I like. Marcus Siegel was fun at the combine. And Aubrey Burks I do like too. Just a lot of guys we could get in the 7th round or UDFA potentially. But no one I love in the middle of day 3. We can look at cornerback. Jalen Smith, I'm not going to take him because he's not going to be here. He's so good. Jabbar Muhammad will be here, though. Jabbar Muhammad looked bad. He looked bad, man. Bad at the combine. He could not even backpedal. He couldn't backpedal. It was kind of embarrassing. He might be a UDFA at this point, or a late day 3 pick. So, I will end up going Dante Thornton Jr. I think he's a really good wide receiver 3 for us. I think that would work quite a bit. Bishal Tootin here is really fun. Let's look at the running backs on the board, because you know what? I was looking to try something. Ollie Gordon could be fun. Jaquindon Jackson could be really fun, actually. You know what? I'm going to try something. I'm going to try a trade here that was discussed. I don't know how accurate it is, but it's an idea that I saw, and I love it. Michael Mayer for Zach Charbonnet straight up. Michael Mayer is tight end 2 behind Brock Bowers, so the Raiders aren't really utilizing him. And Zach Charbonnet doesn't quite fit Kubiak's scheme. We have K9 who fits it perfectly, and Kenny who is really good in that scheme. And we need a tight end. I think Michael Mayer could be a really good tight end 1. He hasn't had the chance to really do anything. He's had a garbage QB his first year, and then his second year he had a garbage QB and a top 2 tight end in the league ahead of him. So he hasn't had the chance to show what he can do in the league yet. And Charbonnet, Michael Mayer, keep in mind, Michael Mayer was an early second-round pick, and Zach Charbonnet was a late second-round pick in the same draft. So if there are fans that would say, like, we spent a second-round pick on Zach Charbonnet, why would we do this? Well, they spent pick 34 on Michael Mayer. So it's the draft pedigree doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what pick we used on Charbonnet, because they used a more expensive pick on Michael Mayer and then drafted a tight end in the next year. So I really liked Michael Mayer coming out of the draft. He was my tight end 1. And so if we can get Michael Mayer for Zach Charbonnet, who's going to already have a limited role, I'm going to do that. And we are going to do that here. And then just as kind of a Zach Charb replacement, I'm going to take Jaquindon Jackson. I really, really like Jaquindon Jackson. He has great size. He really does have great size. And he's a really good... He's really, really elusive. Like he can, I mean, if he gets through that hole, he's gone. He's gone. I'm taking Jaquindon Jackson here at 186. I think that's really, really fun. And I'm happy about that. Okay, now at pick 212, I'm going to look at Jason Marshall Jr. I thought he had a really decent combine. I like him more than Nehemiah Pritchett. I do. I like a lot of people more than Nehemiah Pritchett. I do. So Jason Marshall is going to be a guy I'm thinking of. We need depth at the cornerback position. Right now we have Reek in terms of boundary corners. We have Reek, Nehemiah Pritchett. That's it. That is it. Currently on the roster. We can bring back Josh Jobe, but even then, we still need one more guy for depth. And we have no nickel corners either. We have Spoon, no one behind him. We could bring back Artie Burns, which I would be happy with bringing him back on a 1 or 2 year deal. So a nickel corner is absolutely something we could use too. I think we need kind of a bigger boundary corner. Jason Marshall is that guy. Just depth. He provides depth for us. I don't think he would turn into a starter or anything like that. You know, it's possible you could find a gem, but you're not counting on it. RJ Mickens is a safety I really do like. I think he's really fun. I don't know if he'll be here in the 6th. I think that's pretty unlikely in the late 6th, but it is a possibility. I am going to look over at nose tackle again. We have Cameron Jackson, who's one of my guys. Thor Griffith is fun. Nazir Stackhouse. I don't know. I'd love to re-sign Jaron Reed and have him as nose tackle, but I think we've shown that we don't see Jaron Reed as a nose tackle. He's kind of played more 3-tech. And I mean, we were putting Murphy in the nose tackle role and having Jaron Reed as 3-tech a lot last year. So I think we do need a nose tackle. I don't think Cameron Young is a guy that's going to give us a ton of meaningful snaps a game. I think he's a fine backup nose tackle, but anything more than that, I think it's. I think if you try to put him in a starting role, it's not going to go very well. So I do think we need to address defense here. I am leaning Jason Marshall Jr., and I think that is where I'm going to go, just to give us some depth on the defense. And then I don't have to talk about this. We need a nose tackle. Eric Gregory is fun too. We need a nose tackle, and Nazir Stackhouse is on the board here. I'm going to take him. Hopefully he could be a little bit better than Cameron Young. And that is going to be my ideal draft here. We have Shamar Stewart, edge in the first round. Linebacker Carson Schwessinger. Center Jared Wilson. Tackle/guard Emory Jones Jr. Dante Thornton Jr., wide receiver. Running back Jaquindon Jackson. Jason Marshall Jr., cornerback. Nose tackle Nazir Stackhouse. And we didn't draft a tight end because we traded Zach Charbonnet for tight end Michael Mayer from the Raiders. Now we're going to go over to my predictive mock draft. This is what I think John will do, what I think Mike will do, what I think Kubiak will do, and all the rest of the staff. So, moving down. Woo-wee! Hoo-hoo-hoo! I don't think, even though John neglects offensive line, I don't think this is a question. I think if Armand Membu falls to 18, this is not a question. This is so easy. He is probably my favorite offensive lineman in the class. If Josh Simmons' medicals don't pan out. If Josh Simmons is completely healthy, he's my number one. Membu is my 2. But right now, Membu is my number 1. I think he has potential to be a top 10 right tackle in this league, potentially a top 5 right tackle in this league. And I think he would move inside to guard really well for us. So I don't think I have to think about this very much. Even though John doesn't love offensive line, he is under fire quite a bit from the fan base. And so I think he's probably stressing out. He probably knows that he could be on the hot seat if he doesn't seriously address offensive line. So if we get this is BPA. Even with looking on this board, even with how John undervalues O-line, this is still BPA. This is a really good pick here. So we get Armand Membu at 18. Then on the board at 50. Look, I think this is a really good pick here. Alfred Collins here, I think he's really coming to his own. I think he's the third best nose tackle in this class. Kenneth Grant and Tyreek Williams ahead of him. I think they're kind of the consensus 1-2. And then Alfred Collins, I really like him. And pairing him back up with Murphy, I think that's really, really fun. And we need a nose tackle desperately. Getting one this early, getting it out of the way, our 2 biggest needs in interior offensive line and nose tackle just out of the way immediately is really, really awesome. I talked about a lot of these players already. I don't think we're going to double dip at O-line, not in the first 2 picks. I think edge is possible, but not Jack Sawyer. He's severely undersized. Like looking at his arms are so small. He has like T-Rex arms basically, and I think he was 6'4" still. So, or maybe he was even 6'5". So like if you have shorter arms as an edge, if you're 6'1" or 6'2" and you have shorter arms, then that's kind of fine. You can still get leverage, but if you're 6'4", 6'5", and you have short arms, that's seriously gonna impact your ability to play at the next level, at a high level, at the NFL level. So I don't love Jack Sawyer unless it's like in the late third. Braden Swinson is fun for sure. He did have some off the field concerns with him just leaving the Senior Bowl. I thought that was a bit weird. Alfred Collins is going to be the pick here, though. Take that nose tackle, be able to utilize Byron Murphy in the way that you want. All right, and then we're on the board at 82. Looking here, is there anyone I love? Not particularly. Is there anyone I think that John or Mike would love? I don't know. I think Lathan Ransom is actually really fun. I would love we love to run those 3 safety sets. And Lathan Ransom, I think, is really, really helpful. Rayshawn Jenkins, when he came in as the third safety, he would kind of occupy that box role. And Lathan Ransom does that for us, for sure. He's really good against the run. He's got really good size. He's a hard hitter. I like him a lot. I like Lathan Ransom a lot. A bit more than Mukuba in terms of the run defense, which I think is what we use that third safety for. So he's someone I'm keeping in mind here. I don't think we're going to double dip. If we take an offensive lineman in the first, I don't think we're going to take another one until the sixth. Jalen Royals is fun. I was a little disappointed with his combine measurements. I thought he would be a bit bigger. And speaking of bigger, Savion Williams, he's massive. He's really fun. Really fun. Let's see. I'm looking at tight end maybe. I don't know if we'll take a tight end in the first three rounds. I think a cornerback here is possible. Let's see who's on the board. I think Kobe Bryant is absolutely possible here. I think that's a big possibility. We met with him at the combine, so he is someone that we could look at. He's someone that we could look at. I think this might actually be a trade back spot for John. He likes to trade back for sure. I'm not going to trade with the Vikings because they have no picks. I would trade with maybe the Texans, move back 7 spots, and that would net us what? I don't think we can get this straight up. Maybe you have to give in 212, 236. We'll give him 212. So move from 82 back to 89. Give up a sixth, and we get a late sixth, and we get a late fourth. I think that's fair. And then we're going to move back, and we are probably going to be able to get Kobe Bryant. Yes, we are. I'm going to take him here at pick 89. Occupy that third cornerback role. Or if we re-sign Josh Jobe, he could be a potential Reek Woolen replacement. Reek has 1 year left on his deal. Reek can stay and play out this contract, and Kobe Bryant can sit for a year and just get rotational snaps and then take over that starting spot at cornerback. I think it is possible that this Kobe Bryant moves to safety. I really do. But having him at cornerback would also work out pretty well, I think. So, pick 126. Oh, this is really intriguing with J.J. Pegues. It's unfortunate now because, it's unfortunate just how the board fell. I took nose tackle in the second, and then here we get a third round graded nose tackle on my board falling to us in the late fourth. That is rough. That is rough, and he can play some fullback too. So that is definitely rough. Will Howard, I don't know if I love him here. I think he's fine. I really liked Will Howard, but he really didn't impress at the combine. He looked really bad. I think it's possible that we love him, and if he does fall to 126, the board's falling that way. It's possible we would look at that and really like him. I think Jack Kaiser is fun. Man. That's a really fun pick. Oh, that's a really fun pick. Okay. I'm looking at Jack Kaiser. I'm looking at Will Howard. I'm looking at Chase Lunt, backup right tackle. I think we could move Mike Jarrell to backup left tackle. I think maybe his skill set is probably better suited for left tackle anyway. And then Chase Lunt, backup right tackle, potential right tackle of the future if Abe cannot get healthy. Zy Alexander is fun too. I said it in my combine video earlier. He was one of the slowest cornerbacks, but I think he should move to safety. I think Zy Alexander's play style would be best suited to safety. And so, if I do take him, people would see cornerback, and be like, well, we don't need two. But he would be playing safety, I believe. Edge, you know what? Tyler Batty is really fun. He's got really fun size, really good pass rusher, a really high pass rush win rate. And he is bigger. I think he could play some snaps on the interior if we needed him to. Mike Morris doesn't really provide anything. So if we needed some 3-tech snaps, I think Tyler Batty could take that. Absolutely. Sevion Jones is also really fun. He's got a similar size to Tyler Batty, and I think he could take those snaps as well. Olu Oladejo, not Oladejo. I said it wrong. Forgive me. He's really fun. I don't think he falls out of the third. I really like Femi Oladejo. I don't think he falls out of the third, so I'm not going to sit here and act like he is here. I think Tyler Batty is going to be my pick at 126. Tyler Batty is fun for sure. He really is. And Will Howard might be BPA for some people, but I think for Mike, I think Tyler Batty is probably BPA here. You could argue that Sevion Jones, he's a more fluid pass rusher, I think, but Tyler Batty is overall, I think, a better player, and I think he's better against the run for sure. I'm going to take Tyler Batty here at 126, get that edge, and then look at how the board fell. Quinn Sewers is here. We're not going to take him. Will Howard falling to 136 after that awful combine performance. Don't need to think about this. This is probably a grab. Dylan Gabriel, I will mention him. He's got bad size. He's a small QB. He did have a nice deep ball at the combine, but I think he's too small. Will Howard has a much better size. I'm taking Will Howard here. I think John Schneider said that we just haven't taken a QB because the board just hasn't fallen that way. Well, it fell that way here so that we could do this. All right, here. Not seeing anyone I love. Jack Nelson is intriguing. As a tackle. We need a Stone Forsythe replacement, and Jack Nelson is a big guy. He is a big guy. I love his zone blocking, which really fits in with Kubiak's scheme. If Cross goes down, Jack Nelson is a guy I would love to have. I think it's possible that he could move over to right tackle if we needed him to. If Abe goes down, I'd probably rather have Jack Nelson there at right tackle than Mike Jarrell. So this is someone that could fill that Stone Forsythe role, take the backup left tackle role, but potentially be our right tackle if Abe goes down. I like this pick here. Jack Nelson. That is a good one there. And then here, I don't have to think about this. He's our fullback, Kyle Kubiak. Jesus. Clint Kubiak needs a fullback, and Jalen Conyers is that guy. He fits Kubiak's scheme so well. I don't have to think about this. Jalen Conyers is a pick. I'm running that into the podium. All right, one pick left. And let's see, what did we take? We took a right tackle or guard. Alfred Collins, nose tackle. We took a cornerback. We took an edge. We took a QB. We took a backup left tackle, potential right tackle. And we took a tight end / fullback. Now, I know we do have Armand Membu as the backup right tackle, but if Membu is in at guard, I didn't mention this when I was talking about Jack Nelson. If Membu is in at guard and he's playing really well and Abe goes down, what do you do there? Do you keep Membu where he's playing really well and move Jack Nelson to right tackle? Or do you move Membu to right tackle and hope that like Christian Haynes can step up? I think I'm keeping Membu at guard. I think I am. And Jack Nelson could take that right tackle spot. And if he sucks, then move Membu over. But, all right. So here I'm looking at safety as a possibility. Then again, I think Kobe Bryant could play some safety. I'm looking at wide receiver as an option. I think we probably sign a free agent wide receiver for cheap. I would love like a Joshua Palmer, but I doubt that happens. Ja'Cory Brooks is actually an option here that I would love. I would love Ja'Cory Brooks. You know what? I think I'm going to take him here. Ja'Cory Brooks as a wide receiver 3. I think he's a 4th round talent, and this is probably BPA here. Ja'Cory Brooks. How are they going to see it, though? That's what we got to be looking at. How are they going to see it? I think we need depth at the linebacker position, and Mike loves linebackers. Teddy Buchanan, he has a really good size. He was really good at the combine. I think he's going to boost his stock a little bit. And he surprised me in coverage when watching his tape. He really did. I didn't think he was going to be that good. I thought he was just like a run, just a run guy. But no, he was good in coverage. Teddy Buchanan is going to be my guy here, just as a depth piece in that linebacker room. All right, now we can. Oh, I forgot to save them. I will do that now. But let's go over this. So my ideal here, we have Shamar Stewart, edge in the first round. He would take that 2nd or 3rd edge role, and I think he could be a superstar in this league. Carson Schwessinger, this works if Ernest Jones does not get re-signed. I think he has really good upside. Former wide receiver, really good in coverage. Jared Wilson steps in at center. Move Christian Haynes to left guard, have him battle out for the starting spot with Emory Jones Jr., tackle out of LSU. I think he could play tackle. If Abe goes down, I think Emory Jones could step into right tackle, and that's something he could try. Or try to play left guard, battle it out with Christian Haynes for that starting spot. Dante Thornton Jr., wide receiver 3 on this team. He ran a 4.3 flat 40. He's really, really fast. He's got really good size. He's 6'5", 205, I believe. And he has a lot of upside. I love him. And if we did end up trading DK, he'd be a guy I'd want. Jaquindon Jackson, good replacement for Sharb. He's tall. He's really good in zone. He's really elusive. I think he fits Kubiak's scheme quite well. And he's a big guy. We don't have a big running back. He's that guy. I like him a lot. Jason Marshall Jr., get some depth in that cornerback room. And nose tackle Nazir Stackhouse with split snaps with Cam Young. Hopefully it's decent enough to hold up at nose tackle. And then we traded Zach Charbonnet with Michael Mayer straight up. Then over to my predictive, what I think John, Mike, Kubiak, the rest of the gang will do. Armand Membu is BPA in the first round. He could be our right tackle of the future or slide into guard, and I think he would be really good at guard. Alfred Collins would be our nose tackle. I think, again, this is probably BPA here. We desperately need a nose tackle. Byron Murphy is 300 pounds. He should not be a nose tackle. Nose tackles should be between 320 pounds and 350 pounds. Murphy is 300. He shouldn't be a nose tackle. He's designed to be a 3-tech. That's what we drafted him as, and we had to put him in the nose because we wanted to get him out there, and we just didn't have anyone to play in the nose because Jonathan Hankins was so disappointing. So Alfred Collins would take that nose tackle role, let Murphy flourish at his natural position. Then in the third, I thought we could trade back because there were some decent prospects on the board, but no one that was jumping out at me. So I wanted to trade back a little bit. So we moved from the late 6th to the late 4th in a 7-spot move back with the Texans. And then we took Kobe Bryant to be our cornerback 3 or cornerback 4 if we re-sign Josh Jobe. And then Reek has 1 year left on his deal. Kobe could replace him. Tyler Batty, edge at a BYU in the 4th. He's got a really good size, and he's a really good all-around player. I think he could be a good fourth edge for us. Just get some rotational snaps, maybe become something a little bit more. Will Howard was probably BPA there for John. Just get a backup QB that has higher upside than Sam Howell. Could potentially be a QB of the future. I like that pick. Jack Nelson, backup left tackle, Stone Forsythe replacement, possible insurance policy if Abe goes down. Jalen Conyers could be a tight end 3 and a fullback, very versatile in that way. Really good fullback for Clint Kubiak. And then Teddy Buchanan as just a depth linebacker, a linebacker 3 or 4 if we bring back Drake Thomas. But nothing more than that, I don't think. So that is going to do it. Let's actually check and see who the Texans traded up for. So we ended up trading back. We got Kobe Bryant and Tyler Batty, and they got, let's see who. They got at 82. They traded up for Jalen Knoll. That's a good pick, I think. And who did they get at 212? 212, they got Efton Chisholm the third. So 2 wide receivers with those picks. You know what? That's decent. Texans need wide receiver because theirs keep getting injured. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all next week for my Ideal versus Predictive Mock Draft 5.0. Can't believe we're already in March and past the Combine. Free agency will be started next week. So actually, I might do a stream early in the week of free agency. Again, make sure to check the description for my big board, and my buddy Alf does mock drafts. Hope you all enjoyed. See y'all next time. Later.